to you, because Nifty for today and even in the last week we have seen surging and moving above that 25,000 mark and sustaining as well. How is the setup looking like for today morning?
Good morning. Thanks for having me. So Nifty continues bullish stance for 8th consecutive day and headed towards 25,140 marks. We have noticed that formation of high top high bottom is visible on the daily chart, and in fact it continues strong momentum for second week. So I believe ongoing momentum could continue. It surpasses falling supply trend line, and most of the mechanical indicators are giving the bullish crossover and holding the strength. So I believe till it holds about 25,000, ongoing momentum has potential to extend the rally towards 25,250 to 25,400. The good part is that India VIX is below 10.5 levels. FI long short ratio started to get some recovery and now at 11%. FIs which were selling now at least buying in a small amount. Put call ratio has surged to 1.25 levels. So most of the data indicators are giving a bullish stance, and that's why I believe the 25,000 needs to be respected to start the next leg of rally.
Some levels to watch out for today. We also have Pankaj who's joining us. Pankaj Pandey, Head of Research at ICICIdirect.com. Pankaj, hi morning, and give us a sense of where do you think we are going to be seeing strength coming from this week, given the way we've seen sector churn happen. It was IT last week, you had some other sector before that. What's your take on who could be leading the rally this week, if at all, and where could we be seeing some strength?
Yeah, hi, good morning. Thanks for having me. I think overall our sense is that Nifty could sort of extend gains given the fact that US is softening its stand on the tariff front. And two major sectors, which is Bank Nifty and IT, I mean, combined basis, they carry about 45% of the weightage. And with US slated for rate cuts, our sense is that you could see a change of guard in Bank Nifty, because Bank Nifty is where the challenge has been in terms of the intensity of the FI selling. So our sense is that some bit of a reversal there is very much possible. So Bank Nifty, according to us, can sort of lead the further up move in the market to somewhere about 25,800 kind of levels. IT, I'm still not very sure of, given the fact that US economy could still witness some turbulence going forward. And overall, the guidance for most of your tier one names is still sort of muted. But banking looks quite good to sort of perform or probably lift the market overall to better levels like, say, 25,800 going forward.
Okay, just looking at the market pulse right now and what could actually hold out, what not. And it seems like the defense names once again have come to the fore. And we were just chatting about that as well, as to how the defense procurement manual for 2025 highlights all the objectives and the encouragement for the private sector to participate more has actually been highlighted. MSMEs, startups, DPSUs. It's the first update that you've seen from the ministry ever since 2009. And there are, of course, supplier incentives, operational exchanges, everything that has been highlighted. Clearly, private players like L&T, Bharat Forge would be in focus. Tech innovation firms, the likes of Data Patterns, Solar Industries, MTAR Technologies, these as well would come to the fore. And then, of course, PSUs like a HAL, BEL, BDL, Massdown Dock, etc. would be also on our watch list. Pankaj, what is it that you're liking from the defense pack, and where is it that you think that one could add positions at the current levels?
So, Aisha, I think on the defense side, there is a lot more room to sort of catch up. From a valuation perspective, we like some of the names like, say, HL and Bharat Electronics. But our sense is that, see, a lot of positiveness can sort of come in going forward. So, for example, we haven't seen much of a decisioning on the third aircraft carrier, which is where shipbuilders can sort of contribute. But I think our overall sense is that next 5 to 7 years, we could be easily seeing about 8 to 10 crore worth of ordering sort of taking place. Most of your defense names are very well placed from order book to bill ratio. So we sort of continue to like most of them. And I think within the private players, we have recently initiated coverage on Premier Explosive. That looks good to us. Besides that, Astra Microwave, and you also highlighted Data Pattern. So I think all these names look attractive to us. I think defense is one of the few sectors where which can easily deliver a mid-teen or high-teen kind of a growth going forward. I think the challenge in select pockets that might still remain for certain private sector players, but in general, I think any kind of a major weakness in defense stock is an opportunity to buy.
Okay, so that's the take coming in on defense, but time to get back to technicals and let's talk about some mid-cap ideas. Kunal, what's looking good on the mid-cap front this morning?
So I'll go with something which I recommended last week, Hindustan Zinc. The stock which apparently has underperformed as compared to silver, rising steeply towards that rupee 1,000 or 1,25,000 plus mark. So I think in that sense, Hindustan Zinc over the last 2 days has shown some signs of a pickup in price action. The volumes have managed to make a comeback. The stock is converting a breakout of a rounding bottom formation as well as a potential inverted head and shoulder pattern formation. So would look out for a buy on the stock price. The earlier targets which I had given was 460. Traders who are looking at a fresh buy at current levels could look at 478 as an immediate target on the upside. Stop loss could be trailed to 450.
All right, but Chandan, what about you? Which is your mid-cap idea for today?
So I'll focus on BL, positively on most of the defense counter, and the entire sector is bottomed out with decent buying and follow-up activity. So have positive on most of the defense name, including BL, HAL, BDL, Masgando. But here, as a top pick, I'll focus on the BL. The stock has negated its lower top, lower bottom on the weekly chart after the corrective move of last 10 weeks. We have seen surge in the trading volume, and the stock has recently bottomed out at 360 and surpassed its immediate hurdle of 392 marks. So one can buy with support of 388, and BL has potential to target towards 420 marks.
Okay, let's tell you what else is happening in the world, and it's a big week ahead for central bank that the companies, select Indian companies, continue to do very well in the overseas market, and they are still talking about of 7 to 8% volume growth. How do you see the sector, and which are your preferred bets within this? Pankaj, this question is for you. Okay, I guess we have snapped that line with Pankaj. We'll try to get that fixed. But Kunal, meanwhile, anything specifically on United Spirits that you're picking up? How is the technical setup looking like?
The charts have been a huge underperformer with respect to the other peers. I think Radico is the most immediate stock which has done exceptionally well. United Spirits, when we look at this, the stock in the last few months was just consolidating at this 1300 mark. In fact, there was this wave of underperformance where the stock went through a correction, came back towards its 200-day moving average, just around this 1300 mark, 1270 levels. And then from there, the stock has gone through a time-wise consolidation. In the entire process, many of the other stocks, Allied Blenders, you look at Radico, etc. Many of these stocks have actually done reasonably well. So in the first phase when the stock was correcting, United Spirits was correcting, there was a phase where these stocks moved up higher, and then these stocks have managed to come back to their previous major swing highs. So classically, yes, the stock has been an underperformer, but then I think that's what the markets are. There would be a point where larger cap dominant names, in the entire sector, they would underperform the other peers, the more mid cap end of the market, by a huge margin. But then there would come a point where many of these stocks would become a lot more attractive once the space starts to, or the sector starts to get into a breakout mode. So I think we are in that phase where the entire, Alcobev space, I think they would start to look attractive. United Spirits at 1300 levels. Purely in terms of risk reward is something which one could look out for. I would look at 1360 to 1390 as an immediate short-term target. And given the fact that the stock has formed a good base above this 200-day moving average, that could be kept as a stop loss or a support for this trade.
Okay, so that's the take coming in on some of these Alcobev stocks. But Pankaj, I also want your opinion on where do you see this sector headed? Given that we've had updates coming in from Telangana, there's been new rules when it comes to the Alcobev space in Maharashtra as well. How do you think Alcobev companies are keeping up with these regulations, especially the Maharashtra ones that are quite recent? And what's your take on this space?
So I think regulatory challenges have been there earlier also, and going forward also one cannot rule out. But I think this premiumization as a theme is shaping up very well for these companies. We like something like Allied Blenders with a target price of 640. I think for them the premiumization and above category is expected to sort of inch up to closer to 50-odd%. Management has increased the EBITDA margin guidance to about 18-odd%. So even with 15% kind of a margin, which is what we have penciled in, we expect a high teen kind of a growth and about 35-36% kind of a profitability growth. So I think this stock looks particularly very attractive to us. We like the entire space overall.
Okay, Pankaj, good to have you on the show. Thanks as always for your time. Just
Thank you
counting
so much.
down to the market open then, and 2.5 minutes left to go. A lot of stocks which are going to be in focus. Let's see what the entire capital market gamut